Hello and welcome back to the East Lake Pet Talk podcast. I'm veterinarian Dr. Karen Fling.
And I'm Dr. Will McCauley. Welcome back. We have been getting a few more people signing up, subscribing to our show. We still need a few more bumps to get on our iHeartRadio app that we've been trying to do. So tell your friends. If you haven't signed up yet, sign up for it. Tell your family members. Go search us out on YouTube and on iTunes and help us get to that magic number so we can get to another type of distribution channel.
Right. And remember, your YouTube subscription to the podcast could be the difference for us.
Could be the one, exactly.
Yes.
That's all we
and
need.
It's all about helping people and pets and helping to get that information out about pets and the best way to care for them and fun things about lifestyle with pets. That's what we talk about here.
A lot of information to go over today. There's been a lot going on in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
I know. And did you know that literally while we were sitting in our seats here last week that there was an earthquake that happened?
I remember you saying that. Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, I found that out after the fact, and I think our swivel chairs here, I didn't even realize it. So curious to know if your pets at home were aware of the earthquake or if your pets are able to predict either the changes in weather or the changes in your ground below you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, there have been lots of stories about animals predicting earthquakes, maybe not ones as small as we've been experiencing, but they can definitely feel them. There's a lot of talk about why we started having these earthquakes, but regardless, if your pet is nervous about them or unnerved when they happen, it's important for you to know kind of how to take care of that anxiety and make sure that they don't flip out even further. And this goes along with another thing that's been going on recently in this area, storms. We have had just a
our share of them, and I've been joking earlier that maybe we need to start building an ark or something. So much flooding and so much going on related to weather. And actually, this week is National Hurricane Awareness Week, but with hurricanes and tornadoes and severe storms, we really do need to be thinking about our pets and what to do to help them to be more at ease and comfortable. As veterinarians, we see, every week, dogs and occasionally cats that clue us in to real anxiety issues related to weather changes. So it's a big deal. There can be issues where besides just being nervous, some of these, especially the dogs, really can get into harm's way, jumping through plate glass windows, digging and scratching, trying to escape and dig out to the point that their little paw pads bleed or they have injuries to their
jump fences and actually get out. Yeah, we've seen
and get hit by cars and I mean,
and
just
it doesn't have to happen
things.
at the time of the storm. Of course, we always think that it's the lightning and the thunder that's scaring them, but really they can sense when the weather is coming by that drop in barometric pressure, like we can. You know, if it happens 2 or 3 times and they clue into that's what's going to happen once I feel this feeling. It can be an hour before the storm or even more.
Sometimes that's the best predictor of what weather's going to be if you have an anxious pet. So really, I think it's important as pet parents that we think about what we can do to help our dogs and cats be more comfortable and at ease. And I think one of the big things we can do as pet parents is to control how we react to that situation, because if you do kind of overly coddle a pet and say, oh, poor baby, and act reinforcing to their...
Give them treats to try to get them to calm down.
And there's a way you can give a treat, more like a sympathetic thing or a positive reinforcement, like, hey, this is great, we're having a storm.
Yeah, go distract them to do something else. When they get distracted, go throw the ball once in the hallway, or have them sit
toys,
for it.
Things like that. A lot of times how we react to these situations really determines what cues our pets feed off of. So that's probably the first thing to do. But some of the other cases of anxiety are best managed with things like Thundershirts.
That's right.
A Thundershirt, for anybody who's not aware of what that is kind of a tightly fitting kind of elastic garment, typically used for dogs. I've not tried one for cats. Have you?
No, I've not.
So for dogs at least, they can really be benefited by that. And I think just that gentle kind of comfortable squeeze all around really does settle some of these dogs down. And I used to think it was hooey.
I was the world's biggest skeptic when it came to that.
Well, maybe me next to you.
And it kind of goes, against what we're trained through in school, in veterinary school, that, you need this drug or whatever, or to this behavioral change. But really, my friend's greyhound had horrible swarm anxiety, a lot of other anxieties too. But when she got that Thundershirt on him, whole different dog. You just
right.
didn't. It was that.
And I've even seen it work for veterinary visits when
really?
pets are nervous. Yeah. So I have a couple of patients that actually wear that garment in, and then they're much more easy for me to work with that way.
Oh, way better. Yeah, so, I'm definitely a believer now in the Thundershirt,
right.
or you know, other ones that. And sometimes it's not even. I was going to take the really compressive ones. When the said greyhound tore that Thundershirt, she just put like a fleece vest over him, and it was just the idea of having that on him.
Having something on
exactly.
just kind of takes your mind off, makes you feel a little cozier, perhaps.
Way better, yeah. So there are products out there
right.
for that.
So I believe in that, definitely, as you do. And then the other thing I think that is sometimes helpful, talking about being cozy, is going ahead and using a crate, because dogs, at least, are naturally den animals, meaning they like a little cozy cave or a house. They feel more safe and secure. So sometimes crating them when storms are going to happen can really help out a lot.
Yeah, I find their little space. You know, that's why they'll go hide under beds, and right. Cats too will go hide under beds. But if they do have a place, maybe not as hard for you to get them out of, like a crate or just a little doghouse inside or their own bed,
sure.
That can be
any place that's cozy like
exactly.
that.
That can be enough to kind of get them through that, you know, over the hump, and have them chill out until the storm goes through.
And some people use the technique of desensitizing, where you play sound recordings of storms and that sort of thing. But have you had good luck with that?
I have never seen it used 100% successfully. Some people say it kind of did the thing, yeah, but it's
it doesn't account for the barometric pressure.
That's exactly
changes.
Right. Yeah, you know, you're just kind of cueing them in. I don't know if they associate it with storms as much as associate it with you turning on the stereo and there's thunder playing.
I've wondered that too.
Yeah, so
I've wondered that too. So definitely, you know, if there can be some type of counter conditioning, whether it be recordings or treats and, you know, positive reinforcement during storms, I think that's good. But even so, there's still some of those cases where we do have to bring the medications in, kind of pharmacologic intervention. And I think one of the simple things you can do to just take the edge off for some patients that have a mild level of anxiety is to use Benadryl, to use an antihistamine to take that edge off, and then they can sleep, they can relax, and it just kind of calms them down. But in other cases, that's really not enough, and you need to use something like either Xanax situationally, or sometimes we use another medication called Clomicalm, which is actually an anti-separation anxiety medication, and it's something that you do every day ongoingly. But that's kind of nice because it reduces thunderstorm anxiety also, and then plus if you can't predict when the storm's going to happen, then
you're still covered.
You're still covered.
You gave the pill in the morning or the evening whenever they were needing it. Yeah, that brings up a good point. These medications are very useful and very effective if they're used in the right way, but we always have to know, oh, there's a storm coming in. And actually some cool news we found out just before the show. We're going to have Rebecca Miller, a meteorologist who's very involved in a lot of animal sport roles.
Huge animal lover and a meteorologist primarily. But yeah, we just learned she's going to join us on the show and help us to know special tips about predicting weather to keep our pets safe.
A favorite phone app to go through it. So it'll be a great guest to have.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. You know, we talk about getting the storm ready, but there are times when you know, the biggest danger you face isn't your dog freaking out, but you're in an actual disaster situation. So with all the floods we've been seeing,
flooding and the news coverage with that sort of thing, I just watched a video of a SUV being swept away, and just, you know, it was so upsetting to see that. But you actually have some good news relative to that with some of your training with the National Guard.
That's right. I'm with the Texas State Guard, and we are a branch of the Texas Military Forces, and a lot of the stuff we do does kind of fit into that humanitarian disaster relief role. A lot of times we get called out for hurricanes, for flooding like we've had, or wildfires, and it's important to know that it is a law in the state of Texas that if you are being rescued from your house or from a flooded, you know, area, that a rescuer, unless their life is in danger, they're supposed to take your pets with you.
Great.
But the first thing to do is make sure that they know to get your pets, and make sure your pet is really well identified with a tag and a microchip is what I recommend.
And how else do you recommend that they even know that there's a pet in the house? How do you suggest that?
So there's actual stickers you can buy, so little Post-it notes
kind of
type
tot
things.
finder.
Yeah, exactly. You post on the front door and it says, in case of emergency or fire, please save cats or save 3 dogs. And that's very important to know how many they actually need to get out of there, because if they go in and take 1 dog when you have 3 dogs, then they don't know.
Even if they could have gotten cats.
Yeah, exactly. Even if they could have gotten back in there, they don't know how many times they should go in. So be sure that's well well declared and well identified on the outside of your house or wherever they happen to be rescuing you from, that's how many animals are in there.
And I know one fellow who has come up with a good idea, and that's it. He just took a laminated sheet that he made up that said, in case of an emergency, that I have a dog inside this house, and in the event of a crisis, please contact my veterinarian at, and then put our personal information there. And this is a fellow that has had some previous histories of some heart issues, and his biggest worry was that if he had a crisis, needed medical assistance, that somebody wouldn't know his pet was there and needed care.
No, it's very important. Sometimes the low-tech solution is the best solution, so definitely recommend that's something you take into consideration of.
You mentioned that this was a law in Texas. Is that a law that is in other states as well, or
I don't
do you know?
You'd have to check other states. For our listeners in other states, you do need to check with your state. It's probably the Animal Health Commission.
Everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Animal Health Commission or its counterpart in other states would be the one to kind of start your search there, because it is important to find that out.
Absolutely, and we want all of our pets to be safe.
We do want all of our pets to be safe, and that kind of brings up some sad points in our animal news that we were going to talk about. Some things that's really getting a lot of airplay online. There was a radio DJ in Denmark, named Asger Juhl, Juhl, who, as part of a animal rights debate, killed a rabbit on air. He hit it in the head with a bicycle pump and then cooked it on air. So I don't know what he was trying to accomplish with that, but there is a petition on change.org to have this man fired, which I personally highly recommend people go and sign up for, because that is not the way to get your message across. It kind of
and I think sometimes people just look for the next most sensational thing to do, and really a horrible display of cruelty, and that sort of thing just shouldn't be allowed to be. No, it kind of mirrors
a thing that actually happened in Texas too, which we're not proud of. A veterinarian in Texas actually a few weeks ago put up a picture on Facebook where she had shot a stray cat in the head with an arrow and had some message about it, which it outraged us all in the veterinary community and elsewhere, as it should.
And of course, that veterinarian lost her job, but I think there should be a license removal.
There is a push to have her license removed. We couldn't find any information on that right now, but if you do want to get involved with having this radio DJ taken off the air, change.org is the place to go. Highly recommend that.
Right. And on a little lighter news, as we've had all of this crazy weather lately, be aware of turtles crossing the road.
Our camera guy,
Roderick Pena rescued a turtle that would have been otherwise squished on the road, and I didn't know this, but you told me a little bit about turtle psychology.
That's right, yeah. When you see them crossing the road, it's important when you go to help them, move them to the side that they're going to. Don't take them back, even if they're closer to the left side of the road. If they're trying to get to the right side of the road, take them to the right side. Otherwise, they'll be stubborn, and once you put them down in the grass, they'll turn back around and try again. And then when you drive off, they may not be as lucky. So,
who knew? Just help them get to the other side.
They're stubborn, and they know where they want to go. So if don't put yourself in harm's way to get out on the highway or something. But if it's a small road and there's no traffic, get out and help that turtle across, and maybe help them.
And the other thing is, watch out for snakes crossing the road. With all these floods and all the wet weather, this is kind of flushing out a lot of snake habitats, and you will see greater snake activity. They don't usually like the wetness, but sometimes they will flush out and become more active. And so again,
that's right. If your dog, if your animal gets bit, see one of us. If you get bit, see your physician.
Right. And not every veterinarian carries the anti-venom for snake bites. We do have it at East Lake, and it's much safer and much more effective than it once was. So good stuff. Yeah. But more good stuff going to be coming up related to weather, as you mentioned, next week. And we're out of time for today. Yeah, great show. Yeah, we appreciate you tuning in. Remember to give us a call on our voicemail at 972-808-6038 or send us email at podcast@welovepets.net. For Dr. Karen Feline, I'm Dr. Will McCauley. We'll see you next week. See you next time.